Unspoken Issues.
Gimmick Cover Summer rolls on. Summertime is here, and we are hitting you with some of the great gimmick covers from 1990. Well, here's the thing. We're talking the issue. You guys are the ones that are helping us determine what we're going to be talking about. And my goodness, do we have a scorcher for you tonight.
Real barn burner.
A real barn burner, as a matter of fact. That's Chris Armstrong right there. Chris Armstrong's
it melts on the shelf, not in your hands.
Over there is Evan Bevins coming in. Who came up with these poll ideas? Was it you, Evan, or you, Chris?
That was me.
Yeah. Okay. Evan Bevins, and I give you the floor here because we want to tell these people what gimmick covers they had to choose from.
Well, I would like to discuss the elaborate symbolism and ways that these comics came together and fit thematically. But here's the thing. You said to come up with a poll for gimmick covers, and these were the only two I could think of, because sadly I did not know about that Superman Color Forms issue. I couldn't recall something else like them.
Okay,
so,
all right.
I mean, there's a lot of foil covers. Like the first thing that came to mind was Uncanny X-Men 300. It's awesome. It's distinctive because it was one of my early X-Men collecting things. But there's a lot of covers like that with the reflective foil background. Then the next thing I thought of was the holograms for Fatal Attractions. But I believe you did an episode on Fatal Attractions already, and you don't like to dip into the same well again. So I came up with two covers that I could not think of parallels for. Sleepwalker 19, which you could cut out and make a Sleepwalker mask. Although if you're like me, the idea of cutting up a comic book is sacrilege. Except What If Volume 2, Number 6. I ripped that in half with my bare hands. But so there was that. Although I believe one person on this podcast actually did cut out the mask.
Oh, yeah. Not in my own copy, of course.
That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean, if you got two copies, I understand. But I was like, well, this is cool, but who would do this? What kind of monster? And then the other one is this Fantastic Four one that I was never quite sure if it was a really cool idea or they were running out of ideas. But I remembered it. It is the Human Torch flying directly at the reader, which you can see depending on the angle and the lighting, because the whole thing is white. The corner box, the title, the world's greatest comics magazine, everything is melting as the torch goes nova, which seemed like a big deal when I was a kid, but he seems to go nova an awful lot. That's why I picked those two covers, was because everything else that I thought of, I'm like, well, that was kind of cool, but what stands out about it? These two stood out to me because they stood alone.
Yeah.
Here's something that you may not have known, but one thing that marries these two together is the fact that Fantastic Four 371 on sale date October 27th, 1992. Sleepwalker 19 October 13th, 1992. So within a couple weeks of each other are on the shelf in October.
Well, in the heart of the gimmick era here. And
maybe we should edit that to say these both came out within a couple weeks of each other, so I thought it was great to have them face off against each other.
Now, FF371, I remember it as the white cover, and we noticed on that list it was the first printing, and the second printing is the red cover, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I was curious about that because on the Marvel Unlimited app, it has the red cover.
Probably because I'm not sure how well the white cover would show up on the app.
Yeah, that might be why. I remember both existing or whatever, but I had the white one when I was young.
Well, the results of this poll, we have a very close enough to where I did the other book. I did Sleepwalker. Sleepwalker comes under one vote. It was 18-17 in favor of Fantastic Four 371.
It was a competitive poll.
Yes, it was. We had a total of 35 votes, so that's actually really good. Did you say, Chris, that you had picked this up off the shelf?
I never had this one. I was off Sleepwalker by this time, probably because the Hucks by my house didn't carry it anymore. So I've never had this issue. I think I'm still without it, so I've never even read it.
Okay. Evan,
Yes.
You were a reader of Fantastic Four.
Yes. I had both of these pretty soon after they came out.
Let's talk real quick about the Sleepwalker cover, because it has to be at least discussed a bit. You mentioned already, Evan, about how you could cut this thing out, correct? And I mean, that just immediately ruins the comic, which is...
Hey, comic books are fun, guys.
Comic books are fun.
Fun when they're intact.
Yes. They're fun when they're in a Mylar bag with a backboard. They could be fun in there.
They're fun when they can be reread.
Don't destroy the cover. I didn't even know this thing existed until Chris Armstrong posted something, and I was like, what is this? It might have been you with the mask on, or at least you shared that later on.
I do remember seeing that.
When we did the Sleepwalker episode on color blindness, I sent you guys that picture.
Yes. So,
I mean, heck, if I had that picture, I'd be sharing it every chance I got.
Yeah. So you're not tearing your issue up, Evan, then?
No, I am not. I'm looking at it like, well, who would do this?
I even get nervous, like, just seeing the fact that could you push these things out, or did you have to cut it?
I think corporations.
Oh, that makes me even more nervous. Gosh. I can't take it. I'm afraid something would knock up against it and then poke a perforation out.
I mean, it was pretty durable.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, I hadn't seen the Sleepwalker comic till you guys were probably talking about it. So did you have anything else on the Sleepwalker cover? Evan, I'll start with you.
Just that I thought it was cool, but I would never have actually done it.
Okay. All right. Chris, did you have anything else on the Sleepwalker cover?
Same, it's mostly, I did, but it was just a
beater copy.
For those who haven't heard before, I was working in a comic shop and there was one in the dollar box. So I just poked the mask out.
Yes.
But no, it's a cool idea. And Sleepwalker is kind of the perfect character to have that kind of a cover gimmick, a mask of his freakish alien face. That's about all I got.
Evan, the White Hot Human Torch cover.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but it originally wasn't white hot until Paul Ryan drew Invisible Woman in this issue.
Oh,
that's going to come up here in a second, so we'll just hold on to that one.
And then Paul Ryan went on to become Speaker of the House. Can you believe it?
I couldn't believe it. What were you saying, Chris?
I had this issue back then, but I hadn't read it in 30 years. And so when I was going through it again today, I was like, oh, this is the one.
This is the issue.
Where she breaks out the boob window copy.
I can't believe it, man. I cannot believe it. When I was going through this as well, I was reading.
Like, sure, it's okay for Power Girl. But
I was reading a little bit of Fantastic Four. This is on the shelves October of 1992. This is happening. We covered the new Fantastic Four a while back. So this is like 10, maybe close to 10 issues after that. Does that sound about right?
About 20.
About 20. Okay. All right.
But there is a new Fantastic Four connection.
Let me drop the creative team and when this hit the shelves. Obviously, we're talking by one vote, Fantastic Four, number 371, on sale date, October 27th, 1992. Our creative team, get this out of the way first, Jesse. Tom DeFalco's writing, penciled by Paul Ryan, inked by Daniel Bulanati, lettered by Jack Morelli. So, colored by Gina Going Rainey. Sorry. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get into the summary here, and then we'll get into our notes. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, here we go. The issue opens with Reed Richards hard at work inside the Baxter Building, constructing a trans-temporal reflector in an effort to locate Alicia Masters, who has mysteriously vanished. Alongside Ben Grimm and the Puppet Master, Alicia's stepfather, Reed activates the device, revealing disturbing footage. Alicia was abducted by an alien, specifically a rogue watcher named Aaron. This moment sets the tone, combining emotional urgency with cosmic mystery. Meanwhile, tension grows on Earth and beyond as a coalition of enemies, including Pybok, Davos, and Elijah, set their sights on destroying the Fantastic Four. As these threats loom, tensions rise on multiple fronts. Reed and Sue argue bitterly, with Sue feeling neglected and unappreciated. Their son, Franklin, observes the fight.
Unappreciated by Jesse Starcher.
Strike that note right now. Might as well just cross it out. She is invisible no longer, I'll tell you that much. Their son, Franklin, observes the fight, his glowing eyes hinting at dangerous power stirring within him. This is 92, so he's known for being in the power pack. There's definitely something going on with him. He's watching his parents fight, and then we see that one panel where
his mom dressed like that.
Yeah. At the same time, Johnny Storm, emotionally exhausted from recent events, flies over Empire State University and decides to leave the Fantastic Four. He believes the Fantastic Four have lost touch with modern realities and declares his intent to evolve with the times, citing more ruthless heroes like the Punisher and Wolverine. Maybe he can guest star in a few more books. I think that's...
And X Factor.
X Factor.
Yes. The violent X Factor team.
Not exactly.
X-Force.
I guess they're edgy compared to Fantastic Four. They do have an X in their name.
I mean, Mac was edgy compared to Fantastic.
But just as he attempts to settle into civilian life, he's ambushed by Pybok and Davos, who freeze a student named Bridget O'Neill and announce the start of their assault. Johnny fights valiantly despite being outnumbered, launching a fiery offensive to protect Bridget. As the battle escalates, he's blindsided by the shocking appearance of Lyja, his estranged Skrull wife. They still married? I mean, I'm sure they didn't go to divorce court, but he assumes she was dead.
Yeah, it ended rather abruptly. So, and I don't know what the process is like on the Skrull Throne world, but...
Right. Lyja has been enhanced with new powers, and she has a vendetta. Her emotional
and a new code name.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Laser Fist.
I gotta say, you're giving short shrift to these short shrift. I don't know. To these, it's Pybok the Power Scroll.
Oh,
yeah,
the Devastator.
That's right.
Lyja the Laser Fist.
Oh man. Her emotional taunts and lethal blasts push Johnny further into crisis. Meanwhile, Reed, Ben, and Sharon Ventura, the former Miss Marvel.
I'm going to ask you guys who that was, because at first I thought it was Carol Danvers.
No,
it was Sharon that was the lady thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I don't even know if this is Sharon here, because she's sending messages to Pybok and Davos, right?
It looks like Dr. Doom.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh.
So at this point in time, it could have been Kristoff. I can't remember, little Dr. Doom.
Right.
I think that would have been earlier. But yeah, I was thinking it was Doom.
Okay. And it is Sharon, right?
No, when I look at the word balloons, it kind of sounds like Robert Downey Jr.
Is it Sharon that's doing it? Is she
Yes.
the one? Okay. All right. Well, okay. So Reed, Ben, and Sharon, they track Alicia's signal to a distant alien world where they discover her imprisoned underneath this crazy cosmic looking, I don't want to say cosmic cube, because that's something different, I assume, entirely. But
it is an accurate description, but yes, it carries a different weight.
Aaron, the Rogue Watcher, is there as well. He unveils the ultimate plan to trap them inside this newly created pocket universe of his own design. Back on Earth, the fight grows more desperate. Johnny, battered and emotionally shredded, is attacked from all sides by Pybok, Davos, and Lyja. With no escape and the threat of death looming, he makes a snap decision and goes Nova. His body erupts in a massive explosion of white-hot flame, catching fire to the surrounding area. Sue, watching from afar, rushes to the site in the Fantastic Car. She finds Johnny weakened in the crater, horrified by what he's done. Though she tries to console him, Johnny is consumed with guilt over the destruction he's caused. The story ends on a somber and powerful note. Empire State University lies in flames, smoke billowing in the sky. Johnny is devastated not only physically but emotionally, questioning his place in the world and the damage his powers can unleash when pushed to the brink. It's a brutal reminder that being a superhero doesn't always come with triumphant endings. Sometimes it leaves even the strongest feeling broken, lost, and afraid of what they've become. So there you go. That is our summary of Fantastic Four number 371.
If only Sue had gotten there in time with a bagel.
With a bagel?
To prevent the Nova.
Oh, there it is.
You gotta have a bagel with Nova.
Work somehow.
Jeezy criminy. Just shut the podcast down.
You're surprised that I didn't do that.
I think that's why we need to really reevaluate things.
I lost it in the middle there. I couldn't.
You were too busy looking at one of those drawings of Sue.
Don't stare too long. You are going to go blind. Aaron, the Rogue Watcher. Evan, I don't know much about Aaron here. Can you? Obviously, he's a Rogue Watcher. I assume he's just out.
Yeah, he's a Watcher, but he's gone rogue. The Watchers are famous for their vows of non-interference, and Aaron's like, I'm just going to interfere with stuff. He was a villain in the Fantastic Four. A few years earlier, he trapped the Fantastic Four, and there were a few really weird issues where he watched their dreams. And it was like, then there was one story, it was like the Invisible Woman was having a dream that Dr. Doom was going to war with Kristoff, and it ended in nuclear war or whatever. That was actually the first comic that I read with Ultron in it, was a dream that one of the Fantastic Four was having. It was kind of hit or miss then, so I don't remember, and it's been a while since I reread that, but yeah, he was around for a while. There you go, Aaron, the Rogue Watcher.
Thank you.
Not just because he exclusively spied on Rogue.
What's he doing in a Fantastic Four comic? That's crazy.
Well, he saw Sue's new costume.
Yep.
Yep.
Aaron, the creepy Watcher.
Okay, all right, let's talk about the costume here. I mean, just like you said, Chris, this is the issue here. I wasn't expecting it either. This is clearly when she first unveils it it's first unveiled to the readers and to also Reed, who I don't know.
Did not notice it at all.
I do not know what planet he's on, but whatever, man. Chris, do you have any thoughts about the costume aside from the adolescent stuff we're spewing here?
Well, I was going to say, it was definitely eye-opening whenever this costume showed up. When I guess I would have been 13 at the time. When I was going through Marvel Unlimited to reread this, the previous 6 issues before this one were Infinity War crossover issues. I was thumbing through those, which is interesting because you're seeing scenes from the Infinity War story play out in the FF comic. 2 issues before this, there was a sequence where Sue is having a psychic battle with this character called Malice, who I think is a different version of Sue, maybe her dark side or something.
Exactly.
And so apparently she lost that psychic battle. And so that's why she's acting funny and has this new costume.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I didn't read the original Infinity War, but I did read those issues of Fantastic Four, so I felt like I was following the story pretty well.
I don't think I had any of those Infinity War crossover issues, but when I was thumbing through those, there's direct stuff from the comic. It's an interesting way to do it because you're seeing Thanos pop up and kidnap Warlock in the middle of all this stuff, and then you're seeing it from the FS perspective. It was kind of neat. I'm going to have to go back and read those, I think. Yeah, I think that's why Sue is kind of changing a little bit, having some different personality stuff going on.
Yeah, even at the end of the issue, I think Agatha Harkness is starting to realize that her attitude is becoming a little more cold. Evan, you're reading Fantastic Four at this point in time. I mean, this costume, ridiculous, or are you thinking it was time for a change anyway?
I don't know. With the Fantastic Four, they've got such classic costumes. The ones that I think of as theirs with the dark blue and the white actually weren't their original costumes. But I mean, of all the teams to make a uniform work, bless the Avengers' hearts and their jackets.
And their jackets.
The Fantastic Four costumes, those uniforms are the costume. That was terrible. But they're distinctive. Spider-Man's got one of the greatest costumes. He's also got the black costume. Wolverine has the blue and yellow, the brown and tan, and he also works in a tux and an eye patch or an X-Men uniform. But the Fantastic Four, I mean, it's Reed and Sue, it's hard to think of them in anything other than the standard issue Fantastic Four costume. So yeah, I don't remember what I thought. I think even then I thought that seems a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it's over the top.
You think we're going to?
I mean, Power Girl's reading this and going like, that's a bit much.
What'd you say, Chris?
You think we're going to see Vanessa Kirby in that costume in the movie this summer?
Deleted scenes. All right, here we go.
That's going to be in the not the Fantastic Four video that's going to on the internet.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Reed's always had his head in his work. I mean,
yeah. Work. That's what you were saying.
He's always focused on work and not giving her the attention. It's not like she asked for attention, but she definitely gives him crap in this issue for the fact that he is, I'll read it and quote her, "You inattentive, inconsiderate, self-absorbed, rattle-headed jerk." She is clearly seeing that Reed here isn't paying much attention.
I do seem to remember the Sexy Sue costume era. I think there was just a lot of tension between them.
Also, another big costume change coming up.
Oh, is this the Thing mask stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that doesn't last very long, does it? It's only like for like maybe a handful of issues, or does that last for more than that?
I'm cycling through now. Yeah, he would get that mask in FF 375, and let's see. By 386, he looks back to his old self.
Okay, so we're
probably about a year, a little under a year.
He got messed up by
383 is the last one where I see it on the cover. Then he's not on the cover until 386.
Gotcha. So he got messed up by Wolverine. Yeah. Note here is, boy, did Johnny make Bridget mad. I don't know what happened in the issue previous to this, but man, she just does not want anything to do with Johnny Storm. And then proceeds to turn into an icicle because of whatever Davos and Pybok do. You know, the big Nova reveal was pretty crazy. That was good stuff. I mean, I say Nova reveal. What's his name says it. I think Davos says that he's getting ready to go Nova. What a page, man. Mm-hmm. Him just being stark white and blasting heat out, white, hot flame. And it's not like that doesn't come with consequences. And of course, Empire State University feels the effects, and Johnny Storm, thank goodness Sue's able to get to him there and be with him as he realizes what goes down, what he did. But it's going to be, this is Johnny Storm isn't going around in a secret identity. They are going to know this is the guy that just roasted half of our campus.
I want to say maybe a Spider-Man issue or some comic I remember reading back then where it's referenced, like there's the wreckage of Johnny Storm's accident at Empire State University as they're passing by that area or whatever. So like they made sure it was probably something Tom DeFalco wrote. So
that is all my notes here. So Chris, I'll throw it to you, and then Evan, I'll let you clean up. You probably have a little bit more there, but what are your thoughts here, Chris?
Yeah, I did have this issue back then, probably because of the cool cover. My history with FF is kind of like, I think the first issue I ever had was 350, the one with the Thing on the cover, and it was a Doom issue. That was the first one I had. It was an extra size issue. It's part of the Walt Simonson run. I never really stayed on FF. I could go to a comic shop maybe once a month back then. Other than that, I had to depend on what the Hucks by my house had on the spinner rack. If I'm going into Hucks with $6, I'm leaving with 4 comics and a slush puppy. If the FF issue that week was the 4th best comic option, I would get it. Otherwise,
right.
I would get it up periodically. So reading this was kind of a blast from the past, just seeing Aaron the Rogue Watcher. I remembered him. I kind of remembered Elijah and Payback, the Power Scroll. Some of the coolest things about the FF is Mr. Fantastic just casually whipping up this incredible machine on the fly. Just like, this will allow us to see in the past. And you can monetize this. Right?
Yeah.
I guess he kind of does. That's how they keep flush, is by his inventions or whatever. But that's something that's really cool. Johnny kind of wandering through the campus, and like you mentioned earlier in the recap, he's thinking about the FF being too old-fashioned. You know, right as Sue dons these new duds, and Ben is about to have a helmet to make him look more 90s. There's a Seinfeld reference, which I always appreciate.
Oh, what was it?
I think Ben says something like, "We'll have this done by the time in time to watch Seinfeld," or something like that.
Okay, nice.
Now, in his inner monologue, Johnny says when Pybok and Devos first show up, like, these guys are tough enough to handle the entire Fantastic Four on their own, and now I've got to deal with both of them. And then Elijah shows up, and when he calls the FF, Pybok and Devos are like, "We got to get out of here. The FF are coming." So, which is it, guys? That didn't really make sense, but that's all right. Reading this really made me want to read the DeFalco Paul Ryan FF run. It's kind of an underappreciated Fantastic Four run. I think they were on it to just like the early to mid 90s. I noticed when I looked up Pybok and Devos and I think even Aaron the Rogue Watcher, those are all characters DeFalco created, I assume, in this run of FF. So it seems pretty self-contained. And, Paul Ryan's nobody's favorite artist, I'm sure. He's very capable and everything.
A heck of a job on Ravage #1.
Okay, all right. But he's nothing flashy, is my point. But he gets the job done. Reading this really, it's just a really good comic. It's got a lot of stuff going on. Planting seeds with, Sue kind of acting funny. Franklin, something's going on with him, and Agatha's going to try and figure that out. And then, of course, stuff with Johnny and Elijah. It's a lot of stuff going on. I kind of want to go back and read the DeFalco Paul Ryan run in its entirety. But
okay.
That's all I got.
All right. Evan, you have the floor.
Well, Johnny is on the cover and Sue's turning heads inside, but the real star of this issue, make no mistake about it, is Benjamin J. Grimm, the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Look at this dialogue. They figure out that Aaron's the one that took Alicia, and so Reed's explaining the Watchers, and he's like, but Aaron is a renegade who prefers a more active role. And Ben's like, yeah, he's a real 90s kind of guy. And then Ben's, he found out that Alicia didn't really marry Johnny, and so she's back in his life. And then he's got Sharon Ventura, who's no longer thingified and wants to hang out with him. Meanwhile, Ben's trying to figure out what to do. He knows Reed and Sue are having problems. He's got Alicia's supervillain stepdad, freaking out about where she is. And another great line is they try to contact Uatu, the Watcher, to see if he can give them any intel on Aaron. He doesn't answer, and it just disappeared. But Ben says, you'd think a guy on his evolutionary scale could afford a blasted answering machine. And then when they're going to track down Alicia, the Puppet Master's like, well, yeah, I'm coming with you. And they're like, no, you better not. You should alert the Avengers. And Ben goes, yeah, besides, somebody's got to stay behind and water the plants. And then they get to where Alicia's being held. They go in this cave, and there's all this machinery. Reed says, it appears to be jammed with all manner of sophisticated technology. And Ben's like, I guess now we got to suffer through some boring speeches while I explain how it all works.
That was great.
Just great Ben Grimm dialogue every time. So that's what jumped out to me about it. There are elements of them trying to make the Fantastic Four edgier. And honestly, even back then, I was like, I don't think the Fantastic Four are supposed to be edgy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of balls being juggled there. I remember Devos. I remember Pybok. Pybok still showed up every once in a while in some of the Krakoa X-Men stories, believe it or not.
Oh, interesting.
When they had their emissaries in space and they terraformed Mars, Pybok was like an ambassador for the Skrull Empire.
Oh, okay.
So Devos haven't seen in a long time. Elijah showed up during Dan Slott's run, I think, on the FF recently. So she always pops up every now and again. I do not remember anything about their kid, though.
I was going to say it's obviously talked about here.
Yeah.
And I don't recall them saying anything about the kid living or dying or anything like that, right?
Yeah, I thought they were saying she was pregnant, but.
Well, that would make sense. Right.
One thing that was neat is, I said that I don't know that the FF really need to be edgy, but I remember the idea that the Torch was in trouble. It was an interesting story point. And, I think the next couple issues are him being pursued by like Code Blue and I think Silver Sable's Wild Pack. And then in issue 374, which is where the Thing gets slashed by Wolverine, Johnny was on the run and Spider-Man's like, okay, we need to bring him in, but we need to do this gently or whatever. But he goes to Doctor Strange and has him reassemble the new Fantastic Four. And on the cover, at least, it's under the banner of the Secret Defenders.
Oh,
so
well,
that was pretty cool. I do have a post on that on my blog with my other Secret Defenders coverage.
Now, you said that he was on the run because of this incident?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, that was something you don't expect for the Fantastic Four to be the folks on the run or at odds with the authorities, They're not bad, but they're kind of like the establishment,
So, just a shout out here. And Chris, you're not going to get this because of reasons, but Agatha Harkness and Senior Scratchy are here, Evan Bevins, and Agatha Harkness and Senior Scratchy get all of your boosters. It's a Marvel Snap joke. I'm sorry.
I get.
Okay. All right.
It was fun. I'm like Chris. I want to go back and read some more stuff before and after this. Like I said, this was toward the end of my FF collecting. I've been trying to go back and basically, the early 300s to Onslaught. I'm trying to fill all that in because they're not very expensive. That was kind of my original era of Fantastic Four. The current era of Fantastic Four being written by Ryan North is just phenomenal.
It's good.
But this is a lot of fun. So I'm wanting to go through and kind of fill in some of those blanks and read it myself.
All right.
Or reread it in some cases.
Well, I'll give you the floor to pick a panel. You get first shot since this is your book.
All right, let me see. This one, I use the page numbers. So it's on page 25. And it's the one where all three of the antagonists, Pybok, Elijah, and Devos, are all taking on the torch. And you see them totally overwhelmed. That's a pretty darn cool panel. So I did defer to the art on there instead of just one where Ben Grimm is delivering a devastating one-liner.
All right, Chris, let's see if you take mine.
Final page, final panel. The devastation that the Nova Blast has unleashed on Empire State University with all the buildings in flames. They had shown earlier how many people were around. I doubt anybody died. You wouldn't know that by looking at it.
When you start looking at this, you start picking through, like, what's the damage look like? Because it's not just like the outside's on fire. The inside of these buildings are on fire.
Yeah.
But, there are not any charred corpses.
But that's mine.
Okay. Well, we're going to leave the big one to the listeners then, because I've got one that's not the one that everybody else would have probably thought we would have picked. So the listeners, we'll just go ahead and give you guys he's going Nova. All right. But my personal pick, I'm surprised that I thought you were going to take this one, and I'm glad you didn't. It's going to be Franklin Richards.
Hey.
And he is holding a Leonardo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle doll, making an appearance. Not an actual one, though. Franklin always has the dolls from different universes.
Doll and the...
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I figured you were picking a panel from that page, but that is not the one I predicted.
Hey-oh. All right. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is our discussion of Fantastic Four 371. This was our final Gimmick Cover Summer. It has been a ride. It is wrapped up quite nicely. So we've done 2 or 3. This is the third one. Go back in the archives. You can find those pretty easily here on the Unspoken Issues podcast. Find it on YouTube.
Wolverine number 50.
Right?
And
Wildcats number 2. There it is. There it is. As you can
number
tell.
one in your heart, but number 2 in the...
All right. There it is. We've done it. We've done it. So let's go ahead. We'll get into plugs. Chris Armstrong, you're going to go up first this time. What do you got going on over there at Small Screeners and Because Movies?
I do a couple of movie podcasts with my buddy AJ, Small Screeners, where we talk about direct-to-video and made-for-TV movies. We've done some comic book stuff on there. We did The Punisher, movies from 1989. We've done Batman Under the Red Hood and The New Frontier animated feature with our buddy Jesse. We've also got on Because Movies, where we cover all kinds of movie stuff. We will have put out an X-Men commentary track for the 25th anniversary of the X-Men movie. By the way, you guys are both invited. I'll let you know when we're going to do it, so feel free to jump in.
All right, Evan Bevins, tell them all about Asterisk 51 and what you do.
Well, asterisk51.blogspot.com is my blog where I write about comics, movies about comics about movies, other random stuff that tickles my fancy, if you will. Oh gosh, that was awful. Strikes my fancy. I have a couple of semi-regular features on there, like Dollar Tree Cinema, movies I've purchased at Dollar Tree. Free Comic Friday, looking at issues I've amassed over the years from Free Comic Book Day and other special events. Missing links, going back and filling in gaps in my collection and reading them, mostly devoid of context, seeing how much I can remember and that sort of thing. So check that out if you find my ideas interesting but can't stand the sound of my voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Unspoken Issues podcast, where we talk about 90s comics all the time. Go check out the Unspoken Decade. They have a great Facebook group filled with all people that appreciate 90s comics. Go back in the archive on YouTube or any podcatcher of your choice, and you should be able to find almost 150 episodes of the Unspoken Issues podcast. Right here on the Source Material Comics feed, you can hear me talk about comics of any era with a lot of guests. Recently, myself and Mark Radlich are talking Joker, and we're probably closing in on the end of that 3-story, which comprised of, let's see, we read Killer Smile and the Joker Presents a Puzzle Box, and then we have the Joker War Saga. If you get a chance, just listen to me and Mark discuss all the fun happenings in the world of the Joker. Snap Material, where myself and Evan Bevins get together and we discuss Marvel Snap. So if you play that on your phone, about once a month, me and Evan get together and we talk about the previous season, the upcoming season. We get all sorts of things wrong, but we have a good time doing it. So if you get a chance, check that out. And that's it. Over there is Evan Bevins. That is Chris Armstrong. And Chris Armstrong's got something to say to send us out here. I'm Jesse Starcher. Chris, how are we sending this one out?
What a revolting development.